Boi. Come. Bashalan. In the peace. Atele. Putting crown on. Byler. Her husband. Boi Kailar. Come bride. This is a beautiful Hebrew wedding song, as if the angels in heaven are calling for the bride who has been waiting for 6,000 years to stand up bravely and put on the crown of glory for the coming King of Heaven.
大家好，欢迎来到以诺谈天节目。今天我们讲亚伯拉罕的故事第11部分。五成恶行灭人性，罗得一女丧性命。天庭震怒，派天将硫磺灭城景世间。前面我们说了，上帝在创造天地之先就呼唤亚伯兰2次，伯兰，伯兰。伯兰出生见天象，宁录王要杀他，结果仆人的儿子代替了亚伯兰，神救了他。亚伯兰苦学上帝，宁录建塔办天庭。亚伯兰披神像，宁录把亚伯兰与哥哥哈兰投入火炉，最终亚伯兰3日3夜毫发未损，哈兰死在火炉中。宁录再次要杀亚伯兰，最终他们全家逃离。神第一次呼召亚伯兰进迦南地，神第二次呼召亚伯兰进迦南地，遇见荒年，撒来险遭不测。罗得与亚伯兰分开，差点被掳去，亚伯兰带318家丁救罗得。神与亚伯兰立约，祝福四方，撒来等不及，夏甲先得子。99岁亚伯兰割礼改名，准备迎接以撒的到来。在准备牛犊的过程中，发现了那埋葬亚当夏娃的洞。上帝灭所多玛5城，救罗得。
Hello everyone, welcome to Enoch Talk Show. Today we begin the story of Abraham, Part 11. The evil deeds of the 5 cities destroyed human nature, and the righteous daughter of Lot lost her life. The heavenly court sent the heavenly generals in anger, and the brimstone destroyed these cities to warn the world. In the previous sections we talked before the creation of the heaven and the earth. God called Abram twice, Burim and Burim. Abram was born, and King Nimrod wanted to kill him, but his servant's son took Abram's place. God saved him. Abram searched so hard for the way of back to heaven. Nimrod built a tower to rebel against heaven. In anger, Abram burned idols of false gods and smashed the idols of Nimrod. Abram was thrown in the furnace for 3 days and 3 nights. But he walked out without damage even a single hair. Nimrod had a nightmare and wanted to kill Abram. And Abram entered the land of Canaan in his early 50s. God called Abram for the second time into the land of Canaan. In the famine years, beauty of Sarai almost landed her a disaster. Lot and Abram separated and were almost captured. Abram brought 318 servants to rescue Lot. The covenant made in wilderness will bless the universe. Sarai was anxious to get a son through Hagar. Circumcised at 99 years old, God made covenant with Abram and changed their names to prepare to give birth of a son. Abram sat under oak trees with circumcision pain to welcome travelers. Angels visited them and a calf run away to bring great blessing of knowing the cave of Machpelah. God destroyed the 5 cities of Sodom and saved Lot.
下面我们来看所多玛5城的罪行下半部分。亚萨尔书第19章。一所多玛有4个审判官管理4座城，他们的名字是所多玛的希拉、俄摩拉的沙卡、亚玛的萨伯纳、洗扁的米嫩。 亚伯拉罕的仆人以利以谢给他们起了不同的名字，他称希拉为沙克拉，沙卡为沙克鲁拉，萨伯那为科索宾，米嫩为马卓定。3照着4位判官的要求，索多玛与俄摩拉人在城中街道摆上床榻，若有人到此，他们就会抓住他，带上任一张床，并强与他同寝。4当他躺下时，两头会各有3人，用床量度。若这人不如床长，6人会在两头拉拔他，他喊叫也无人理会。5若他比床长，他们就拉扯床的两头，直到那人见到死门。6若他继续向他们呼求，他们便回答说：这就是人来到此地所当受的。7人们听闻所多玛人所行之事，绕行不经过此地。8若有一穷人到他们的地，他们会给他金子和银子，并向通城宣告不可给此人食物。若客人在那地停留数日，因无食物而饿死，在他死时，全城的人会前来收回他们所给的金银。9他们认出所给的金银，并且收回。人死后包了他的衣服，并为衣服争斗，凡得胜的人可拥有。10他们将他埋在沙漠中的树丛下，他们终日如此对待所有到那地并死去的人。11有一日，撒拉刹以利以谢前去所多玛看望罗德，向他问安。12以利以谢出发前往所多玛，见一所多玛人正与一客人争斗，那所多玛人将客人的衣服剥光并离去。13那穷人向以利以谢求救，向他述说所多玛人一切所行，恳求他的帮助。14他便问他：你为何向这来到此地的人行这事呢？15那所多玛人回答以利以谢说：这人岂是你兄弟吗？还是所多玛人今日给你判断的权利，你便为他说话。16以利以谢为那穷人与所多玛人争论，以利以谢上前想从所多玛人手中夺回穷人的衣服，他急忙用石头打中以利以谢的前额。17以利以谢的额头血流不止，那人见血，便揪住以利以谢，说：你要因你额上流的这恶血给我工价，这乃是我们的风俗和条例。18以利以谢对他说：你既伤了我，还向我要工钱吗？以利以谢不听那人所说。19那人揪住以利以谢，把他带到所多玛的判官沙克拉那里听讼。20那人对判官说：我恳求我主，这人行了这样的事，我用石头打了他，他不肯因他前额流血而付我工钱。21判官对以利以谢说：此人所说确实，给他工钱，因这是我们的习俗。以利以谢听见判官的话，便拾起一块石头打向判官，石头打中他的前额，血从判官的额头涌流。以利以谢便说：若这是你们的习俗，请你把我要给他的给他，因这是你的判断，你却是这样定的。22以利以谢将那人留在判官那里，便离开了。23当以兰诸王与所多玛诸王征战，以兰诸王掳去所多玛一切财物，并将罗得与他的财物也掳了去。有人告诉了亚伯拉罕，他便去与以兰诸王征战，将罗得和所多玛的一切财物都从他们手上夺回来。24那时，罗得的妻子怀了一个女儿，给他起名叫帕提斯，意思是因神将他和他的全家从以兰诸王手中救了回来。帕提斯长大，所多玛城中一人将他娶了过来。25有一穷人来到城里寻找养生的，他在城中停留多日，所多玛城的人通告他们的风俗，不许给这人食物，直到他死去，他们便这样做了。26罗得的女儿帕提斯见这人倒在街上挨饿， 无人给他一点食物，他就快要死了。27他甚怜悯他，许多日给他吃的，那人便活了过来。28当他去打水时，他会把面包藏在水瓶里。他来到那人所住的地方，将面包从瓶中取出给他，如此行了多日。29所多玛和俄摩拉人都惊奇这人多日未被饿死。30他们便彼此说，他必是吃喝了，因无人能像这人能多日不被饿死的，他的面色未曾改变。于是有3人埋伏在那人所在之处，想知道是谁给了他吃的。31罗德女儿帕提斯那日前来打水，他把面包藏在水瓶里，前去那穷人所在之地打水，从瓶中取出面包给了那人，他便吃了。32那3人见帕提斯向穷人所行的，对他说，就是你一直在供养他，他就没被饿死，面色没有改变，也不像其他人那样死掉。33那3人从他们藏身之处出来，抓住帕提斯和穷人手上的面包。34他们将帕提斯带到判官们面前，对他们说，他行了此事，就是他给了那穷人面包，以至于他一直没有死，请宣判这妇人犯了律法，并审判他。35所多玛和俄摩拉人在城中聚集，点着了火，他们将妇人投入火中，他便烧成了灰。36在亚玛城，他们也向一女人行了同样的事。37因有一客人到了亚玛，整夜住在那里，计划早晨出发回家，因他到那里的时候已是日落，他就对坐在一年轻女人附近的家门没有离开。女人看到他坐在门对面。38他向他要水喝，他便问道，你是谁？他说，我今日正行路，日落时到了这里，于是我决定在这里住一宿，明日我将早起，继续赶路。39年轻女人便进了屋，为那人取食物与水供他吃喝。40这事在亚玛传开了，他们聚集，一同把女人带到判官们的面前，以行判断。41判官说，这个女人必须判死罪，因她违背了我们的律法，这就是对她的判定。42于是城里的人都聚集去将年轻女人带出来，照着判官所判定的，用蜜浇在她头上，从头流到脚，又把她领到一蜂巢前，黄蜂飞向她，刺她全身红肿。43那年轻女人因黄蜂大哭，无人听她，也不连续她，她的哭声达到天上。44耶和华被此事及所多玛各城所行之事激动，因他们有丰富的食物，他们中间也有平安，但他们仍不帮助穷苦急需之人。那些日子，他们在耶和华面前的罪与恶行加增。45耶和华便差2个天使，就是去亚伯拉罕家里的那2位，毁灭所多玛与他的诸城。46天使吃喝过后，从亚伯拉罕帐篷门口起身，傍晚到了所多玛城。罗德正坐在所多玛城门口，他看见他们，便起来迎接，脸伏于地下拜。47罗德切切地请他们，领他们进屋，罗德为他们预备筵席，他们就吃了，整夜住他家里。48天，使对罗德说，起来，带着你的妻子和你家里的人出去，免得你因这城里的罪恶被剿灭，耶和华要毁灭这个地方。49人就拉着罗德的手和他妻子的手，并他的孩子与凡属他的人之手，把他们领出来，安置在城外。50他们对罗德说，逃命吧，他就和他的人逃走了。51耶和华将硫磺与火从天上耶和华那里降于所多玛和俄摩拉并其他各城。 52把那些城和全平原，并城里所有的居民，连地上生长的都毁灭了。罗德的妻子亚多回头看被毁的城，因心中挂念他的女儿，他们没有跟着出来，仍留在索多玛。53他回头一看，就变成了一根岩柱，那柱子直到今日还在那里。54那地的牛每日舔食岩柱直到脚跟，早晨岩柱又长出新的来，直到今日牛仍在舔食。55罗德同2个与他逃出来的女儿一起逃到了亚杜兰洞，在洞里住了一些时日。56亚伯拉罕清早起来，向索多玛诸城观看，见那地方烟气上腾，如同烧窑一般。57罗德和他的2个女儿住在洞里，他们叫父亲喝酒，与他同寝。他们以为全地都已被毁，地上再无人可以从他们那里存留后裔。58他们便与父亲同寝，从他怀孕生了儿子。大女儿给他儿子起名摩押，意思是我从我父亲的着他。他是现今摩押人的始祖。59小女儿给他儿子起名便亚米，就是现今亚门人的始祖。60死后，罗德与他的2个女儿离开那地，与女儿并他们的儿子住在约旦河的另一头。罗德的儿子们渐渐长大，从迦南的为自己娶妻生子，生养众多。
Next, we look at the crimes of the 5 cities of Sodom, the second half. Book of Jasher, chapter 19. The second half. 1 And the cities of Sodom had 4 judges to 4 cities, and these were their names: Sirach in the city of Sodom, Sharkad in Gomorrah, Zabnak in Admah, and Menon in Zeboim.
2 And Eliezer Abraham's servant applied to them different names, and he converted Sirach to Shakra, Sharkat to Shakrura, Zebnat to Kezobim, and Menon to Matzlotin.
3 And by desire of their 4 judges the people of Sodom and Gomorrah had beds erected in the streets of the cities, and if a man came to these places, they laid hold of him and brought him to one of their beds, and by force made him to lie in them. For and as he lay down, 3 men would stand at his head and 3 at his feet, and measure him by the length of the bed, and if the man was less than the bed, these 6 men would stretch him at each end, and when he cried out to them they would not answer him. 5 And if he was longer than the bed, they would draw together the 2 sides of the bed at each end, until the man had reached the gates of death. 6 And if he continued to cry out to them, they would answer him, saying, Thus shall it be done to a man that cometh into our land. 7 And when men heard all these things that the people of the cities of Sodom did, they refrained from coming there. 8 And when a poor man came to their land, they would give him silver and gold, and cause a proclamation in the whole city not to give him a morsel of bread to eat, and if the stranger should remain there some days, and die from hunger, not having been able to obtain a morsel of bread, then at his death all the people of the city would come and take their silver and gold which they had given to him. 9 And those that could recognize the silver or gold which they had given him took it back, and at his death they also stripped him of his garments, and they would fight about them, and he that prevailed over his neighbor took them. 10 They would after that carry him and bury him under some of the shrubs in the deserts, so they did all the days to anyone that came to them and died in their land. 11 And in the course of time Sarah sent Eliezer to Sodom, to see Lot and inquire after his welfare. 12 And Eliezer went to Sodom, and he met a man of Sodom fighting with a stranger, and the man of Sodom stripped the poor man of all his clothes and went away. 13 And this poor man cried to Eliezer and supplicated his favor on account of what the man of Sodom had done to him. 14 And he said to him, Why dost thou act thus to the poor man who came to thy land? 15 And the man of Sodom answered Eliezer, saying, Is this man thy brother, or have the people of Sodom made thee a judge this day, that thou speakest about this man? 16 And Eleazar strove with the man of Sodom on account of the poor man, and when Eleazar approached to recover the poor man's clothes from the man of Sodom, he hastened, and with a stone smote Eleazar in the forehead. 17 And the blood flowed copiously from Eleazar's forehead, and when the man saw the blood he caught hold of Eleazar, saying, Give me my hire for having rid thee of this bad blood that was in thy forehead, for such is the custom and the law in our land. 18 And Eleazar said to him, Thou hast wounded me and requirest me to pay thee thy hire. And Eleazar would not hearken to the words of the man of Sodom. 19 And the man laid hold of Eleazar and brought him to Shachra the judge of Sodom for judgment. 20 And the man spoke to the judge, saying, I beseech thee my lord, thus has this man done, for I smote him with a stone that the blood flowed from his forehead, and he is unwilling to give me my hire. 21 And the judge said to Eleazar, This man speaketh truth to thee, give him his hire, for this is the custom in our land. And Eleazar heard the words of the judge, and he lifted up a stone and smote the judge, and the stone struck on his forehead, and the blood flowed copiously from the forehead of the judge. And Eleazar said, If this then is the custom in your land, give thou unto this man what I should have given him, for this has been thy decision, thou didst decree it. 22 And Eleazar left the man of Sodom with the judge, and he went away. 23 And when the kings of Elam had made war with the kings of Sodom, the kings of Elam captured all the property of Sodom, and they took Lot captive, with his property. And when it was told to Abraham, he went and made war with the kings of Elam, and he recovered from their hands all the property of Lot as well as the property of Sodom. 24 At that time the wife of Lot bare him a daughter, and he called her name Paltith, saying, Because God had delivered him and his whole household from the kings of Elam. And Paltith daughter of Lot grew up, and one of the men of Sodom took her for a wife. 25 And a poor man came into the city to seek a maintenance, and he remained in the city some days. And all the people of Sodom caused a proclamation of their custom not to give this man a morsel of bread to eat, until he dropped dead upon the earth, and they did so. 26 And Paltith the daughter of Lot saw this man lying in the street starved with hunger, and no one would give him anything to keep him alive, and he was just upon the point of death. 27 And her soul was filled with pity on account of the man, and she fed him secretly with bread for many days, and the soul of this man was revived. 28 For when she went forth to fetch water, she would put the bread in the water pitcher, and when she came to the place where the poor man was, she took the bread from the pitcher and gave it him to eat, so she did many days. 29 And all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah wondered how this man could bear starvation for so many days. 30 And they said to each other, This can only be that he eats and drinks, for no man can bear starvation for so many days or live as this man has, without even his countenance changing. And 3 men concealed themselves in a place where the poor man was stationed, to know who it was that brought him bread to eat. 31 And Paltith daughter of Lot went forth that day to fetch water, and she put bread into her pitcher of water, and she went to draw water by the poor man's place, and she took out the bread from the pitcher and gave it to the poor man, and he ate it. 32 And the 3 men saw what Paltith did to the poor man, and they said to her, It is thou then who hast supported him, and therefore has he not starved, nor changed in appearance, nor died like the rest. 33 And the 3 men went out of the place in which they were concealed, and they seized Paltith and the bread which was in the poor man's hand. 34 And they took Paltith and brought her before their judges, and they said to them, Thus did she do, and it is she who supplied the poor man with bread, therefore did he not die all this time. Now therefore declare to us the punishment due to this woman for having transgressed our law. 35 And the people of Sodom and Gomorrah assembled and kindled a fire in the street of the city, and they took the woman and cast her into the fire, and she was burned to ashes. 36. And in the city of Admah there was a woman to whom they did the like. 37. For a traveler came into the city of Admah to abide there all night, with the intention of going home in the morning, and he sat opposite the door of the house of the young woman's father, to remain there, as the sun had set when he had reached that place, and the young woman saw him sitting by the door of the house. 38. And he asked her for a drink of water, and she said to him, Who art thou? And he said to her, I was this day going on the road, and reached here when the sun set, so I will abide here all night, and in the morning I will arise early and continue my journey. 39. And the young woman went into the house and fetched the man bread and water to eat and drink. 40. And this affair became known to the people of Admah, and they assembled and brought the young woman before the judges, that they should judge her for this act. 41. And the judge said, The judgment of death must pass upon this woman because she transgressed our law, and this therefore is the decision concerning her. 42. And the people of those cities assembled and brought out the young woman, and anointed her with honey from head to foot, as the judge had decreed, and they placed her before a swarm of bees which were then in their hives, and the bees flew upon her and stung her that her whole body was swelled. 43. And the young woman cried out on account of the bees, but no one took notice of her or pitied her, and her cries ascended to heaven. 44. And the Lord was provoked at this, and at all the works of the cities of Sodom, for they had abundance of food, and had tranquility amongst them, and still would not sustain the poor and the needy, and in those days their evildoings and sins became great before the Lord. 45. And the Lord sent for 2 of the angels that had come to Abraham's house, to destroy Sodom and its cities. 46. And the angels rose up from the door of Abraham's tent, after they had eaten and drunk, and they reached Sodom in the evening, and Lot was then sitting in the gate of Sodom, and when he saw them he rose to meet them, and he bowed down to the ground. 47. And he pressed them greatly, and brought them into his house, and he gave them victuals which they ate, and they abode all night in his house. 48. And the angel said to Lot, Arise, go forth from this place, thou and all belonging to thee, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of this city, for the Lord will destroy this place. 49. And the angels laid hold upon the hand of Lot, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hands of his children, and all belonging to him, and they brought him forth and set him without the cities. 50. And they said to Lot, Escape for thy life, and he fled and all belonging to him. 51. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah and upon all these cities brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. 52. And he overthrew these cities, all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew upon the ground. And Adu the wife of Lot looked back to see the destruction of the cities, for her compassion was moved on account of her daughters who remained in Sodom, for they did not go with her. 53. And when she looked back she became a pillar of salt, and it is yet in that place unto this day. 54. And the oxen which stood in that place daily licked up the salt to the extremities of their feet, and in the morning it would spring forth afresh, and they again licked it up unto this day. 55. And Lot and 2 of his daughters that remained with him fled and escaped to the cave of Adullam, and they remained there for some time. 56. And Abraham rose up early in the morning to see what had been done to the cities of Sodom, and he looked and beheld the smoke of the cities going up like the smoke of a furnace. 57. And Lot and his 2 daughters remained in the cave, and they made their father drink wine, and they lay with him, for they said there was no man upon earth that could raise up seed from them, for they thought that the whole earth was destroyed. 58. And they both lay with their father, and they conceived and bare sons, and the firstborn called the name of her son Moab, saying, From my father did I conceive him, he is the father of the Moabites unto this day. 59 And the younger also called her son Ben-Ami, he is the father of the children of Ammon unto this day. 60 And after this Lot and his 2 daughters went away from there, and he dwelt on the other side of the Jordan with his 2 daughters and their sons, and the sons of Lot grew up, and they went and took themselves wives from the land of Canaan, and they begot children, and they were fruitful and multiplied.
却是以色列拉比说，罗德家有10口人，2个已婚女儿和女婿，2个儿子，2个未婚女儿。最终儿子与已婚的都没有听罗德的，因为他们不信罗德。亚伯拉罕在听见上帝说10个义人，也是救赎的10的谐音意思，也要把整个城都救了。而罗德家当时就10口，亚伯拉罕就不再问下去了，因为再问下去就是受膏者5的谐音，上天当然会救了。实际上，最终上天救了罗德与他的2个处女女儿3人。按照犹太人的说法，最终他们都称义了，一个是路德，一个是所罗门的妻子，唯一一个生男孩罗伯安的拿玛。而这部分刚好告诉我们，为什么这2个义女最终与父亲同寝，因为他们以为这地都烧毁了，再也没有活人了，所以他们有义务为上帝保留人种，上帝看他们的行为为义。岩柱永远地提醒世人，末日方舟是不能回头的，下去很容易，就再也上不来了。下回书第12部分，我们先谈神为什么要各地善待客旅，亚伯拉罕再次逃难中，撒来差 1.2 次遭难。民风淳朴克平安，恶山恶水克遭殃。亚伯拉罕在避难，善待客旅显为宜。谢谢大家收听以诺谈天节目，希望大家顺着思绪听，我们下回见。
Interpretation. The rabbi of Israel said that the family of Lot consisted of 10 people, 2 married daughters, and a son-in-law, 2 sons, and 2 unmarried daughters. In the end, neither the son nor the married listened to Lot because they did not believe in Lot. Abraham was hearing God say 10 righteous people, which also means redemption, a homophony of 10, and will save the entire city. And Lot's family was only 10 at the time, so Abraham didn't ask any more questions. Because if you keep asking, the anointed one, homonym of 5, will of course be saved by God. In fact, God finally rescued Lot and his 2 virgin daughters, 3. According to the Jews, they were all justified in the end. One was Ruth, the other was Solomon's wife, Naamah, and the only one who had a son named Rehoboam. And this part just tells us why these 2 righteous daughters ended up sleeping with their father, because they thought the land was burned down and there was no more living people, so they were obliged to save the human race for God, and God saw their behavior for righteousness. The salt pillar forever reminds those in the ark of the doomsday not to turn back. In the 12th part of the story, we will first talk about why God asked those who followed God to treat travelers kindly. When Abraham fled again, Sarai almost suffered humiliation second time. Those areas with simple and safe customs among their people, travelers were safe and sound. And those areas with evil people, travelers were suffer and died. Abraham avoid humiliation again since he has been kind to travelers. Thank you for listening to the Enoch Talk Show. I hope you will listen to it in order, and see you next time.